Hey guys, welcome back to Vegan Outreach. I'm Kim from brownville.com and I'm so excited you're here because today I'm going to teach you how to make a delicious cashew cheese that is perfect for a holiday cheese platter. If you have a party coming up and you want to serve this as an appetizer, you're going to love it. And it's really easy to make your own cheeses at home. Now we have so many available at the store, but it's really great if you live in an area where these aren't as easily accessible. So here we go. Now the first step in this recipe really happens the night before you're gonna make it. So we need to pre-soak some cashews. That's gonna make them nice and pliable for when we put them in our blender. And if you have a high-powered blender, you might be able to skip this step if it's really, really powerful and it can run without them being softer. And another option if you forget is you can boil them in water for 15 minutes, but out of all the methods, I really prefer soaking them anywhere between 4 hours to overnight. And you just put them in a container and you just leave them in water. And the next day you just drain them and we're gonna place them in a blender. Let's add our cashews into the blender. And we're gonna add all of our seasonings at this point. So we need some sea salt, of course. We need some nutritional yeast. This is what's gonna give it that nice cheesy flavor. Garlic powder, a little bit of lemon juice, and some coconut oil. This is not only gonna help firm the cheese up, apart from something else we're gonna add later, but it's also gonna give it a very silky and smooth texture. Another thing that's really helpful, depending on how powerful your blender is, you might need to have some water on hand to add to help it run, but try to kind of move the cashews around, kind of scrape down the sides and use as little water as possible. That's gonna give you the greatest texture. But if you have to use a little bit, that's okay. Now what you want is to have it as creamy as possible and with as few grains or lumps as possible. Now depending on your blender, again, it's gonna be smoother or less smooth, and it's okay, it's still gonna be delicious, but you want it as creamy as it can be. Make sure to taste it and adjust the seasoning if you want it a little bit stronger, but I think this is gonna be great. So good. So I placed our cashew cream in a small pot. We're gonna heat this up with some Agar Agar. Agar Agar is a vegan gelatin and it's gonna firm up our cheese slightly. It's still gonna be a spreadable cheese, but it's gonna give us a beautiful shape and it's gonna look fantastic. Now we do need to add something else, some chives. These are chopped chives. I love chives in this cheese. You could vary it up, mix it up, or do half and half with 2 different kinds of herbs. Now let's mix this together. And of course you could just serve this as is. It's a delicious cream cheese right now, but we're gonna heat it up and see the magic of Agar. Agar Agar is a very, very fine powder, and combined with water and heated up, it's gonna act as gelatin. So it's gonna firm anything up, anything you use it in. And of course, the amount you use is gonna determine how hard the result is. So this is gonna be a kind of spreadable cheese, but still it's gonna hold that nice little round shape of a cheese. So we're just gonna add some cold water, just a little bit, to make a sort of slurry, and whisk it. You just wanna make sure that it's in kind of a liquid form and well combined. Let's add that in and make sure to get all of that in there. And we're gonna mix this together and we're gonna heat it at medium heat for exactly 2 minutes, stirring constantly because this is gonna harden a little bit and some of that liquid is gonna evaporate. So just make sure to stir constantly to prevent scorching in the bottom. Count those 2 minutes and then we're ready to place them in our little molds. For for our molds, I'm just using these little ramekins, and you can use any size or shape that you like, and I've lined them with a little bit of plastic wrap. Now, because we're using plastic wrap, let your mixture cool a little bit just so you don't melt through it. And this is going to turn from that cream that we had into this kind of dough, and that's what we want. That's that agar kind of doing its thing already. So now we're going to divide this between the two ramekins, and you're gonna see what they look like after we chill this. Now we just kind of wrap them up, and we're gonna stick these in the refrigerator, and the time you leave them in there is going to determine how hard your cheese is. So if you only want to do it for a couple of hours or 4 hours, it's going to be kind of still a creamy cheese. If you leave this until the next day, you're gonna have a harder version, which is what I'm gonna show you right now thanks to the magic of video, because we already have a couple ready waiting for us. So let's take a look. I made these yesterday, and these should come out really easily. Just pull on that plastic, that's why it's so helpful. And you have that gorgeous little cheese, which now we're gonna kind of decorate, and we get to assemble our platter. So cool, right? Now we're gonna top our cheeses just to kind of have them look really, really beautiful, and to assemble our cheese platter. Now for one of them, I'm going to use some chopped chives, the same chives we used for the inside of the cheese. We're just gonna have some extra and coat the top. It's gonna look beautiful. And then for the other one, I'm gonna use a combination of chopped pretzels and chopped pink peppercorns. And do you see how festive this looks? So this is really easy to do. All you have to do is grab a couple baggies. We're gonna have one for the pretzels and one for the peppercorns, and we take a rolling pin and we just smash that all together. I love serving my cheeses in a wooden board. I think it's so rustic and beautiful, but use whatever platter you have. And then you get to put on lots of goodies on, around the cheeses. So I've used today some green olives. I have some strawberries, some raspberries, some grapes, some extra pretzels. I've also added some on top of the cheese there. I have some toasted bread. And isn't this beautiful? People are gonna go wild because you made this in your very own kitchen, and it's totally vegan, it's festive, it's perfect for the holidays or whenever you have a party year-round. So I hope you make this at home, and from all of us here at Bramble, I wish you happy holidays, a happy new year, and of course, we will be back in January with more here at Vegan Outreach. Bye!